Hello and welcome back to Upside Down. Today we're continuing our Hellblade series. Hope you liked the last video and hope this one will also be useful. I like how they save themselves creating animation for opening the door, and you just get this cool camera 360 panning and then the doors are suddenly open. Cool trick. Okay, here we have some different vegetation. We can see that the one on the ground is still the same, but the trees are different. Oh, and we have some stones. That's new and interesting. Let's see what we can find out about these stones. Oh yeah, we can see that it's mostly a texture. There is not really any geometry for most of it. There are just some parts where they go a little bit out or in. Still the same technique on the ground. We can see that they are blending between two different materials. I actually want to show you how to do this, so let's quickly jump inside of Unreal and I will show you how you can create similar effect. So as you can see, I've already set up a plane in Unreal with material that it has two different versions. So I want to show you how to create such material and use it in your scene, and after that you can paint it over and after that using vertex color you can paint different variations and make and randomize the terrain the way that you want. This technique is very cool because what I'll be showing you is actually not on the Unreal terrain, it's on a separate plane. So it's something that you can use either for small terrain, like for plane or something like that, or you can also use it on a wall or some other asset. Let's say you have few different variations of a building or like some modules of a building, and with vertex color you can add up some dirt or some variation, like some torn up part or some broken part, and it's very easy technique, very cool, and yeah, let's start. So first I'll create a new material here, and first I'll create a new material and add all the textures that we need. So I will just drag and drop the textures. These are all the things from one of the materials, just so that, okay, and I will do the same with the second version of it. I will also quickly organize them. Okay, so we have an occlusion, then we have diffuse, normal map, and the last one is about roughness. Let's start setting up those things. So first thing, what I like to do usually is I like to multiply I'll do it like the opposite way. So this way we add up the occlusion to the diffuse. Then we will do the same for those. Let's copy paste this like that. Okay, great. Wait a little bit further. Yeah, so the way that we can now combine those 2 is very easy. We just need to find vertex color. We will put it on the side because we will use the same information of vertex color for all the other channels as well. And we will put it on the red channel. We will hold L and click somewhere so that we get lerp. And this is the first texture set, the second one. And for the alpha, we are gonna use the red channel of the vertex color. This way, when we paint something in the red channel, we are switching between those two, like blending between those. And this goes to base color. Okay, so we will do the same for the normal maps. I'm just gonna copy this, take both normal maps, lerp it here, like that. Okay. And the last one will be for our roughness. We're gonna do the same. Done. So this is pretty much everything that we need to do in order for us to be able to use vertex color and blend all the textures. What I usually like to do as well is just so that I have a little bit more control over the material. It's to let's apply, save. I will close this. I will select this and drag and drop the material. You can see that it's a little bit scaled. The one that I initially showed you, I played a little bit with the UVs. And now the way that it works, when we have our plane selected, we go to modes, then we go to paint, and here we have color. We select down here on the channel on which color we want to paint, and if we paint with it, we can see that we use one of the textures. If I hold shift, I'm erasing, so I'm using the other texture. And this way you can blend dirt, you can blend different terrains. One thing that you need to have in mind is that in order for this thing to work, because it takes the information around the vertices and it takes into consideration how many vertices you have. So if you have just a single plane without any vertex or any vertices, it won't be possible to do it. In order to use this technique, you need to have at least some geometry. So it's usually much better to use it like on terrain, which has some deformation on it, like not on a straight plane, or as I mentioned, like on some building or on some other asset. And the more vertices you have, the more control you will have, but also it will be more heavy for your game. So it's best to find a good balance and get nice results and being optimized at the same time. Now let's get back to Hellblade. Okay, these are the same stairs that we saw in the very beginning. We can see that these are like 9 pieces of them. Then we have these rocks look the same. We have just these stone pillars that are some of the new things. Okay, this is like two different versions. Yeah, so they have 2 variations of those stone, like the one that is square and the other one which is rectangular. I presume that those also don't have their polygons on the lower side, because you can see that they just rotated them in different orientation and they didn't flip them. Usually when you are doing something like this, it's not a bad idea. You can create like both sides and then you can flip it on one side or on the other. This way it's more optimized, of course. I would say that they probably went more optimized because they wanted to spend most of the resources on this nice ground and also to have more details and to have more vegetation. This looks pretty good. This is an asset that you can do the same technique that I showed you inside Unreal. You can blend in between two different materials with two different textures with vertex color and have such thing. And you can actually randomize it. Like you can have, for example, some that are completely clean, some that have just a little bit, and you can randomize it just by having two texture sets for it. Okay, that's a cool asset. Okay, we have the same stairs. I think that we are gonna see them throughout the whole game. Let's see if they hide them here better. Yeah, here you can see that they hide everything nicer. Although there is some clipping from the rock underneath, but it doesn't really matter. Those doors are looking very nice. I'm interested if it's if we can find somewhere else the same texture, and if it's some atlas that they just use it for detailing. Like, except on the doors, maybe they have some other wooden panels as well with similar ornaments. This guy didn't have a good day. Okay, here they use the same stones that we saw earlier, and no, those are not scaled versions of them. They've made smaller ones. Yeah, they made smaller ones, which is good. I noticed that while fighting with them, when you hit them, those slashes and cuts appear on their body, but they don't match the places where I hit them. So I think that they just have the same trick as for her arm. Probably they have a texture where they are already damaged and they are just blending slowly between the normal standard texture and the one that they're a little bit damaged and cut. Same trick on the ground. You can see that they blended a few different textures, a few different variations. And actually interesting thing is that those tiles, they are not, they are directly painted on the terrain. You can see that how the terrain is moving, and it's just a terrain texture which they're painting around. They are not adding any other geometry or any special mesh. So they just painted directly on the terrain. These are, I really like this combination. It's in terms of color, it's really good to have those just a little bit colorful elements. Something that I kind of missed on Dark Souls. They had very grim and dark textures, but a little bit of color here and there, it really makes some of the elements pop up and add extra detail. This guy, when we were down, he was different. Here we have different stairs. They look a little bit weird, I would say, because this moss doesn't really make sense, and it tiles a little bit weirdly. Here we can see that this is actually a module, and you can even see where the end of it is. So this is probably one piece that they tile on a couple of places. Like here, yeah, you can see that it's stacked up 2 times, and then they have another one which is just for the broken part, which goes on top. Same thing goes on this side. It's very cool environment, and again, one more time, you can see how the developers, they use very smart, in a very smart way, couple of assets. They have, I think, one curved, which is not broken for the walls, then one curved which is broken, and then they have 2 straight elements, and 2 or 3 different broken ones. The stairs, the 3 texture sets for the ground, and a couple of wooden beams and wooden elements. So again, not many assets, and you can see that they build up quite big environments, and it looks nice. It looks very well. And with some smart combination, they are able to create nice and interesting level designs. This bridge is interesting. It's I think it's created from yeah, from 2 different elements, and probably we'll see them in other places being used as well. I will look after if I see similar assets somewhere. They added such high collisions here, like the whole area here is completely blocked. Probably they had some issues how you can get stuck or something like this, and they just decided, okay, we like this design, but yeah, we need to fix it. Oh my. Those columns are definitely not made to be such huge assets in the world. Here you can see that they already started blending from the texture just on the terrain, with a little bit of other stones and tiles on top, and then they go to the dirt texture. So this way you don't really see. Here you can see the stitching in between. I have the feeling that probably they're either this is like another part from the terrain, so whenever now we go further, these doors will close, and that whole area will be completely unloaded from the memory. So this way, this is why the terrain there is split in 2. Again, the same walls that repeat. These stairs are just 2, I think, yeah, 2 different stairs and 2 different steps, and they just repeat them over and over again. Still keeping it very simple but consistent, which is pretty good. Of course, here and there we see some assets which their texture density not the best, but as I said, when you're in production, you don't always have the time to do all the things that you want. Sometimes you need to sacrifice a little bit. But as long as they're keeping the same mood and atmosphere, It works. Thank you for joining me today. Leave a like, please subscribe if you like my videos and want to see more content like this. See you next time.